Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Geek Dad Reviews. I'm Brian West.
And I'm Ryan Thomason.
And tonight we're going to be reviewing a movie that's actually been out for a while, but me and Ryan finally got a chance to catch the ultimate director's cut of this film, and we thought we had some things to say about it, so we'd do a quick review on it. So, what movie are we talking about? You may be asking yourselves. We're talking about the 2009 movie from Zack Snyder, The Watchmen. Ultimate.
And if you haven't seen it by now, then you're missing out on a really good movie, just so you know. Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to be reviewing tonight is the ultimate cut. So there's been 3 cuts of the movie. There was the original cut that came out in 2009, the theatrical cut. It was about 2 hours and I think 20 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's pretty long. Kind of mixed reviews. Most people seem to like it. Everybody who said The Watchmen should never be made into a movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically The Watchmen was a comic book from Alan Moore, a much beloved comic book, graphic novel that a lot of people were very angry that said should never be adapted to a movie. Alan Moore himself did not want anything to do with the movie, but Zack Snyder made it, and in a lot of ways took a lot of the panels right from the comic books and put them right into the movie. And anyway, a lot of the fans of the comic book hated the movie, which I don't understand. I thought it was actually a pretty good movie. But then he released a director's cut, as Zack Snyder is prone to do, with an additional, I think, 25, 30 minutes of additional footage. And then 2014, he released the ultimate cut, which included the short cartoon story of the Black Freighter, which if you read the comic book, the Black Freighter is it's a story of a pirate. It's kind of a weird side story about a kid reading a comic book, and the comic book's about a pirate who kind of loses.
Like a big tie-in with the actual movie, but it
has nothing to do with the movie other than a character that kind of loses his mind in madness. So I guess that ties in a little bit to the story of the Watchmen. But anyway, he added that cartoon into the movie, which made the ultimate cut. I've been wanting to watch this for a while. I just never got around to it. I have the director's cut, which I very much enjoyed, but I wanted to watch the ultimate cut. And so finally, right now, it is free on Amazon Prime. So me and Ryan watched it, and we figured we'd talk about it for a minute.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've actually watched the Watchmen movie. I think at least like 5, maybe 6 years. I mean, it's been a good amount of time. So while I was watching, I was trying to figure out what was
the kind of additional parts and what wasn't.
Because it seemed like there were some parts that were really obvious to me that it was new.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't from the original that I had seen. And then there's one, like when we were talking before we started, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was part of the new thing with the old Night Owl.
Yeah, I think the biggest change to this is that in the original version, the original Night Owl storyline is kind of cut off. In the director's cut and the Ultimate Edition, they add in his death. He's killed by some hooligans who...
Top Knots.
Yeah, Top Knots, who the new Night Owl just about beats one of them to death. Yes. It kind of serves as a story, if you haven't ever seen The Watchmen, I definitely recommend you check it out. It's dark, it's gritty, in my opinion, it might be Zack Snyder's one of his finest comic book movies. It fits his style perfectly. It's basically like an anti-superhero movie. It takes place in 1985, in a dystopian future where Richard Nixon has brought the world on the brink of nuclear war with Russia. And basically it's about superheroes. It's about what happens when kind of absolute power corrupts and the dark side of being a superhero, right? And the sacrifices you have to make.
The really dark side of being a superhero.
Yeah, the dark nature of our heroes, and in a lot of ways it's a deconstruction of heroes, which is what the original comic book was all about. And there's one thing I did find that was kind of funny was I found a lot of similarities to Batman versus Superman in the Watchmen Ultimate Edition. There's a lot of very similar themes. And my favorite thing, I don't know if you caught it, but there's a moment when the kid who's reading the comic book that the Black Tales is based on is talking to the newspaper guy, and he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "I think it's Bernard." He's like, "Oh, that's my name too." That is literally a Martha moment from Batman v Superman. I thought that was pretty funny, but But yeah, so that's what this is about. If you've seen the original Watchmen, if you were like, should I watch it? Personally, I really enjoyed the original Watchmen movie. There's scenes that don't feel fully fleshed out in that original version, but I thought that cut actually does a pretty decent job of telling the story. What I did really like about the Ultimate Cut, though, is it allows those scenes to really breathe, and it makes this movie feel alive. Like, it's, 3 hours and 40 minutes, I think?
I think it was 3 hours and like 19 minutes or something like that. I can't remember the exact specifics.
But it never felt... It never felt long. Did you notice that? Like, every single scene I was just entranced with. And if anything, like I said, all those extra minutes, it should show you how much is extra dialogue and scenes that already exist, that they extended versus new storylines. Because the only new storyline that I could even see was the death of Night Owl, and obviously the comic book. But I thought that was okay, too. They added a whole animated short movie into it, but it didn't feel weird. They did it in a good way.
And honestly, I kind of enjoyed the animated short. I mean, it was kind of like a palate cleanser, like between what was going on in the movie, and then have the animated short, and then go right back into the movie of the kid, reading the newspaper and Rorschach,
Well, and they edit it in such a way that's it's just perfect. And I don't know. Like I said, I think the extra dialogue in this and the extra scenes, the extra 20, 30 minutes of footage really just, it gives you much more, like I was much more emotionally invested in this cut than I was in the original cut. The original cut felt, it felt strong, but you could see like it was much more edited into more, they cut some of the depressing stuff out of it and made it a little bit more of a superhero movie. This one, well, I don't want to say more of a superhero movie, but
a superhero movie. I mean,
I think this one really draws out the emotion a lot more than the first one does. Like, by the end of this, you understand every character's motivation and why it has to happen. And in the original cut, it's not like you didn't, but this one, and like the comedian in this one, I felt much more like. I mean, the comedian's a terrible character.
I really disliked the comedian more in the Ultimate Cut.
Yeah, I did too, but that's what I mean. Like, you saw the range of him as an actor, and I thought his story had more of a full arc. Like, he was a bastard, he always was, but in the original cut, he was kind of just he seemed more like a device plot. In this version, he seemed like a much more fleshed out character and a very integral part to the whole storyline, right?
Yeah. And a real piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, they all, in a way, kind of, you just see the tragedy of being a hero. And
Dr. Manhattan, I mean, he left his wife for,
Well, the other thing I liked a lot about this one, too, is they added a whole bunch of stuff with Silk Spectre in this, where in the original, she was kind of the last. They really expanded on the fact that, so in the original version, she was the girlfriend of Dr. Manhattan, and she leaves him, and it kind of makes it seem like Dr. Manhattan's like, well, screw it, I'm leaving, and it was almost like her fault on why Dr. Manhattan left the Earth. Well, in this one, it much more fleshes out why, like how the whole thing was manipulated onto why she left him, had to leave him. And not just that, it made her more of a character, right? It didn't make her just some girl that Dr. Manhattan was sleeping with and left. Silk Spectre, I think, gets a better story arc in the Ultimate Cut. She has a lot more agency, I feel, in this one than the director's cut.
I agree. I thought that her story arc was a little more fleshed out in the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, she definitely got some breathing room.
And the stuff with the Night Owl, kind of makes like a little more sense in a way.
So, I mean, ultimately, if you've liked, I don't know what else we could say about it. To be honest with you, like I said, there's not a lot of new stuff to talk about. There's just extended scenes, extra dialogue. They give more characters that maybe got the short end of the stick. I don't think there's really anything new with Rorschach. I don't think there's really anything new with the second Night Owl. Silk Spectre got more. Dr. Manhattan got more. I thought it felt like the comedian got more. And maybe the comedian didn't get more, but maybe the story, because it got more, made his story a little bit fuller. But I just felt by the end of this, you really understood and felt it even more than you did with the original one. It's just a perfect movie. And honestly, some of the social commentary in this is so spot on. Even now, it's relevant. It's pretty crazy.
It's very interesting how the social commentary plays out right now compared to what's going. I think it's a lot more relevant right now than it might have been when it came out.
Well,
that's for sure.
What's crazy is this novel was written in the 80s. The movie was made in 2009, mostly with the same themes attached, and we're watching it right now in 2018, and it feels like it could have been really made just about today.
Yeah, they just swap out different leaders.
And I think the ultimate cut really, like I said, really fleshes that out, really expands that, and really I think they do a really good job of nailing it home, right? Just really driving the ideas.
I think if you've seen The Watchmen and you think you've gotten enough of it, the ultimate cut will definitely give you a more deeper perspective, and it will also entertain the hell out of you. I mean, if you like The Watchmen, the ultimate cut is gonna give you a lot of the same thing, but there's just enough new things in it to make it a completely different movie. So
well, I wouldn't say completely different, but I feel like an even better movie.
But different enough so it doesn't feel like you wasted your time.
No, if you like The Watchmen at all, I highly recommend. I believe the ultimate cut is the best cut of this movie, and I think it's the only version you should watch. Truthfully, it's a good movie. I very much enjoyed the ultimate cut, and like I said, it seems like 3.5 hours is a long time to watch a movie. I know that can be daunting and it puts people off, but do not let that discourage you. I think that it's definitely worth watching. If you don't like The Watchmen at all, this is not going to change your mind.
Yeah, it's not.
No.
So don't waste your time. But if you did like The Watchmen, it's worth it.
Yeah,
Trust
there you go. All right. Well, you got anything else you want to say about this?
No, other than getting an Amazon Prime account, because that is the best way to watch it right now without having to buy it off eBay or wherever else it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely, for free, it's definitely worth watching.
Yes.
Did I mention that this story really fleshes out the movie? All right, whatever.
Who doesn't like watching that Silk Spectre and Night Owl scene in the
the sex scene inside of Archimedes, or was it Archimedes? The best part is when he does his business and shoots the flames. That's still in this movie. Can I just say for the record though, if you've never watched Watchmen, just watch it for the opening montage. The first 10 minutes of that movie, as it's going through history, is one of the best Zack Snyder shot things of all time. It is.
They took like different parts of the history and just kind of put in like a Watchmen character.
Yeah, and they do it to, what is that? Who is that? Is that Bob Dylan, right?
Yeah.
It's Bob Dylan. Oh, dude, it's so good. Or is it Bob Dylan or is it... I think it's Bob Dylan.
It was Bob Dylan.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, check it out. Watchmen Ultimate Cut. Ryan and me, Geek Dad Report, stamp of approval. Right now available free on Amazon Prime. So, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, stay awesome, everybody.
And don't forget to stay nerdy.